but beforehand, and here's where I, have some advice. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what it's actually like to have LASIK eye surgery. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be telling you all about my LASIK eye surgery that I recently have. But first off, if you're new here, I upload videos every Monday and Friday, so feel free to stick around and subscribe. Also, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. So I am assuming by now you've already seen all of the before clips, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into the actual process of my eye surgery, and then just talk about how I'm feeling and everything like that. I'm so excited. It's so nice. I will say before I get into that, I just can't believe that I can actually see now. I can wake up and I can see, and it's a great feeling. I've had to wear glasses since I was 7 years old, and I'm 25 now, so I've had 18 years of pretty bad vision, and it's just amazing to wake up and be able to see. I will say, I think it puts me in a better mood, to be honest. So I had my eye surgery on August 28th. Also, before I forget, I literally did not tell hardly anyone that I was getting LASIK because I already have anxiety as it is. Like, I didn't need the extra pressure. Not that it would be pressure, but I don't know. I just didn't want people asking me about it. So I hardly told anyone. Like, I literally just told my brother on the phone before filming this video. So yeah, I have anxiety, and I'm going to get into that process and like how I felt with, having anxiety and having LASIK done also. So anyway, so I had my eye surgery on August 28th, but I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Before that, I had to have my contacts out by August 19th because apparently your contacts reshape the your eyeball a little bit. So obviously they didn't want it to have good readings on what my eye actually needed before having LASIK. So I had a pre-op appointment August 26th, a couple days before my surgery. So my surgery was August 28th, which was a Wednesday. So August 26th, I had my pre-op appointment, and that was a full week without wearing contacts. So I wore my glasses for a little over a week, and I filmed a little footage of that so I can kind of, you can kind of get a feeling of how I felt there. I also filmed a little video to put on Instagram. I might put it in this video as well, sharing my thoughts. I'm about to go get LASIK done, and I finally will not have to wear my glasses anymore. I just did not like wearing my glasses. I couldn't see as well. But yeah, I talk about that all previously. But I do still remember what it was like to wear my glasses, and I just could not see as well, and it was not very pleasant. But I knew the end result was going to be 2020. So it was really, that just kind of kept me motivated. It kept me on track. So the Monday before, they got my eye measurements. They also dilated my eyes, which I did not know beforehand. And I drove myself to the appointment, but thankfully my dad was there with me so he could drive me home afterwards. I cannot see very well after getting my eyes dilated. Like, I was planning on obviously driving, and I was actually gonna go clean the Airbnb after that, but I just ended up cleaning it the next day because it just takes me a little while for my vision to go back to normal, with having my eyes dilated. As I mentioned, I do have anxiety, and I actually have a whole series talking about my anxiety that I will link for you guys. But definitely the few days prior to my LASIK, I definitely had really bad anxiety, but I just kept on telling myself it was a short time, because the surgery was going to be a short time frame, and the end result is just going to be so much greater, so I could get through this. But even the Monday before, even though they were just taking eye measurements, I had anxiety then as well. But as I said, I just kept on telling myself, that it was going to be okay. My surgery was Wednesday at 1 p.m. So that day I just kind of try to keep my mind occupied, so I didn't really have too much downtime to stress about it. I actually, filmed that clip wearing my glasses literally right before I was about to leave to get my eye surgery. So whenever I got there, they actually gave me a Valium. I don't know, I feel weird mentioning like medicine or drugs in my video, but they gave me a Valium to kind of relax me beforehand, and that's I feel like the standard procedure, at least for where I got it done, because you are awake for the procedure, which I will get into. She also talked about my post-op care while they were kind of, giving the Valium some time to go into my body. They were giving it time to work. She talked about the post-op care, which I'm actually going to have a whole other video, which is going to be my next video, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. My next video is going to be all about the post-op care and how my eyes are healing and what I see now. all the other good stuff, but I just didn't want this video to be forever long, so that's going to be in my next video. So she talked to me about my post-op care. Then I just kind of, you know, sat and waited for a little bit. Also, the day of my surgery, you cannot drive yourself, so my dad was the person who drove me afterwards. Like, there's no way that I would be able to drive myself home after that. Anyway, so the Valium finally kicked in. Then I went into the procedure room, and the doctor who actually did the Lasik was really nice. He talked me through the entire thing, which was great for my nerves because for the 100th time, I have really bad anxiety. Anyway, so I got onto the table, you know, where I was going to be laying for the surgery, and then he scooted me underneath the laser. Then there is a device to keep your eye open, so that was not comfortable at all, and I was a little squirmy. And then there's also a separate instrument to keep my eyelashes away from my eyes, and at that point I was like kicking my legs and stuff. Like, I knew I couldn't move my head, and the way that my head was laying, I couldn't really move it much anyway, obviously, because, you know, they didn't want to have an error for the laser with the laser or anything like that. But I think he asked me at that point, like, do you want someone to hold your hand? And I was just like nodding my head or whatever. I was like, yes. So in walks this woman. I've never met her before, but I did hold her hand during my surgery, and it greatly helped. He didn't tell me exactly what the instruments were doing, which was probably a good thing. I actually didn't know exactly everything that was involved until my post-op appointment yesterday, which I will mention in the post-op care. Like, I knew that, you know, the Lasik, and they obviously ran everything through. I had to sign consent forms. I knew that the Lasik was going to correct my vision, but I didn't know everything that that involved, just because I didn't want to know, because I didn't want to stress myself out more. But anyway, so he would say things like, you know, you're going to see a green light for 15 seconds, and then I can't remember everything through it, but I do remember, actually I guess I'll go ahead and mention that in this video. I do remember at one point I heard like this drilling sound, which was not very fun. And then the woman I saw yesterday, she actually didn't do my Lasik, but she is going to be taking care of my post-op appointments, and I just asked her like what that was. And she said, so before that you feel a little bit of pressure, which is the incision for the laser to actually go beneath, I'm pretty sure it's beneath your lens, because it actually reshapes the surface of your cornea. I took a picture that I will insert here of my eye the next day, and I think those little dots that you see, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that that might be the incision. If it's not, that's obviously had something to do with the Lasik, because, you know, those little dots are not on my eyes then, but also you can see what my eyes looked like the day after surgery, how the healing process went, that kind of thing. But anyway, so there's a little needle or whatever that actually makes a little incision, because the laser actually goes, as I was saying, the laser goes beneath your lens, pretty sure, to reshape your cornea. So the laser is what makes that drilling sound, and that lasts about 20 seconds per eye. So I don't know if you've had a cavity filled before, but like that sensation of having like a drill that close to your mouth, like it's just not ideal for me. So that was not fun, because obviously yes, you are. So like the way that I felt, yes, I was, you know, relaxed and stuff from the Valium, but I was still like completely aware of everything that went on. Like, I remember I was telling my best friend about this whole process the other day, and she said, you know, like, what do you remember? And I said, I remember, you know, pretty much everything, because I was awake for the whole thing. It really did not take long for the whole process. So, you know, after we finished my right eye, obviously went immediately to my second eye. And I will say I had a little bit more of a hard time with my second eye, just because I knew what to expect. So I had the Valium, so I was like pretty relaxed, but I still, like whenever I don't feel well, or if I'm sick, or you know, in those kinds of circumstances, I can work myself up into a panic attack. So if I did not have the Valium, definitely would have had a panic attack whenever he was going to do my other eye. But I just kind of was like, my breathing was shallower, and he just really did a good job at like talking me through it, you know, like it's almost over, you know, deep breaths, that kind of thing. Definitely with the laser part for the left eye, I like squeezed the woman's hand really tight, and it was just not that fun. But ultimately I just kept on telling myself, you know, like, you're gonna be able to see. That's what really got me through. So yeah, I laid on the table afterwards, you know, for a few seconds or whatever, and then the woman helped me up, and I walked to my dad, and then we went home afterwards. But beforehand, And here's where I, have some advice. Beforehand, I thought I was kind of hungry, which I was a little bit. I ate a little bit before, but not too much because obviously I was like really nervous for the Lasik. So afterwards, I ate. We stopped and got some food, and I ate. And I would recommend for you not to eat because I ended up throwing up afterwards because I was so sick. So by the time I got home, I also, after the surgery in general anyway, I was really like pretty out of it. Like I could walk, but I was like, didn't talk much, couldn't talk much, was pretty out of it. So, he told me to, obviously just go home and like go to bed, just like kind of sleep it off kind of thing. But by the time I got home, my eyes were running, watering so bad, especially my left eye was watering pretty badly. It just would not really stop. That was pretty uncomfortable, but my eyes were stinging a little bit as well. And I also did feel nauseated. I ended up getting a pretty bad headache. And also, as I was saying, kind of whenever I was having the Lasik, I can kind of work myself up, and I know that I do this, but I still can't, totally help the situation. So I know that like that feeling was temporary, but I like and I did feel really bad, but I kind of like worked myself up more, which made the whole situation worse. So I ended up, I would say a couple hours after my surgery, I ended up throwing up. My headache did eventually go away, and I was able to go to sleep eventually, and I would say by about 6:30. So my surgery is done about 2 p.m. By 6:30, I would say I felt fairly well. My vision wasn't 100% the best, but I'll get to that in a second. But there for a couple hours after my surgery, I will say I felt pretty bad. I never had surgery before, but my eyes are running really, really bad. It was hard for me to open my eyes, and also I just wanted to kind of like leave them closed to let them heal the best as well. My eyes were watering. I felt really, really nauseated, and I had a bad headache, so I couldn't really go to sleep. But after I threw up, and also eventually my headache did go away, I was able to rest. And then afterwards, about 6:30, I was pretty awake. I kind of still rested a little bit, but not too much. So I could, be able to sleep that night. But afterwards, I could see a whole lot better than before my Lasik. But I will say, afterwards, I would describe it as if I was wearing contacts, but they were like 0.25 too weak. So I could see a whole lot better, but I couldn't see in focus. So I wouldn't be able to read things or like see detail. Not sure if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can describe it. And that was totally normal, totally fine, and it's just because my eyes were healing. Also, that reminds me, I kind of want to get that thesaurus now. We are a week afterwards. My eyes are still actually healing, which I will, mention in the post-op video. But I do want to show you like where I have to hold the book now to show you that my vision is so much better than it used to be. So my eyes are still healing, as I mentioned, but I can hold the book here and be able to read it. I have to hold it literally right here to be able to read. Like, do you see how close this is to my face? I feel like the biggest question is going to be how much did it cost, and I'm not going to get into that, mostly because it's going to vary based on where you are. But I will say there was a free consult for Lasik for me. Hopefully that's the case for you. Obviously you need to find out if you're a candidate for Lasik before even further going into the testing and that kind of thing, and having to pay for that and then ending up not being able to be a candidate for Lasik anyway. But maybe check that out if you are interested in it. I would obviously highly recommend it. I'm so glad that I'm able to see now. Just with talking with people in my personal life, it's really weird to wake up and be able to see. Also, before I go to bed, I was so used to having bad vision that it was almost a process of, like the nightly routine. It's like, oh, you can't see, check, you're ready to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just, like before I obviously did not sleep in my contacts, so I would just not be able to see. Now that I have the Lasik and I can just see so much better, I would just highly recommend it. But obviously this was my personal experience. I'm obviously not a doctor. This is just what I, personally experienced, as I was saying. So that is my Lasik video. Once again, my post-op care and that kind of thing is going to be in my next video, so make sure you check out, stay tuned for that. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, feel free to stick around and subscribe. I post videos every Monday and Friday. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.